Hey, Maddie. I wanted to finish the book that we started last night. The Rabbit and the Turtle by Eric Carle. We left off on the wolf and the lamb. A wolf met a lamb and said to her, "I am hungry. I'm going to eat you up." "My dear wolf," said the lamb, "I understand that perfectly well. That's the way things go. I shall not complain." "You are a good girl," said the wolf, and opened his mouth, showing all his sharp teeth. "One moment, sir," said the lamb. "As you know, I am entitled to have one last wish." "That is so, my dear," said the wolf. "And what shall that be?" "If you would be so kind, I'd like to play me some music," said the lamb. "I adore music." The wolf pulled a flute from his pocket and began playing the most beautiful music he could, inspired by the thought of the delectable meat he was about to enjoy. "You are an artist," whispered the lamb. "Do keep on playing." Soon the shepherd, hearing unfamiliar music among his lambs, looked to see what was the matter. When he saw the murderous wolf, the shepherd took a big stick and hit the wolf over the head. "Ouch!" yelped the wolf, and he ran into the woods. When faced with danger, make wise choices. Now I want you to remember that, I'm sorry, my phone keeps falling. I apologize. I'm sorry. At the end of each one of these stories, Maddie, there is a message to be learned. And I, at the end of the book, want to hear your favorite message. The Frog and the Ox. Mr. Frog took his family for a stroll, and Mr. Ox took his family for a stroll. As the two families were passing each other, one of the frog children said, "My, look how big that ox is." "I could be as big as that ox if I wanted to," said Mr. Frog, and puffed himself up a little. "There's no need to puff yourself up like that," said Mrs. Frog. "I like you just the way you are." "I'm going to be as big as that ox," said the frog, and he puffed himself up some more. "Papa," said the other frog child, "you were the right size before." But Mr. Frog puffed himself up even more, his face turning red. "Bah!" screamed the frog baby, alarmed by the way he looked. But Mr. Frog puffed himself up still more, his face turning purple. "Please," shouted the whole frog family, "don't! We love you the way you are." But the frog puffed himself up even more than that. The buttons on his coat popped, his pants ripped, and his shirt split. "Stop!" cried Mrs. Frog. But Mr. Frog gave one more puff and exploded into 1,000 pieces. "Did you hear something go pop?" Mr. Ox asked his wife. "No," replied Mrs. Ox as they walked on. Be proud of who you are. Be proud. Don't try to change yourself. Don't try to compete with others. Be proud of who you are, Maddie, okay? Always. Sorry, my phone's giving me a hard time tonight. Okay. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3 more pages, and then we're all finished. Okay? The Blackbird and the Peacocks. One day, a young blackbird saw some peacocks. From that moment on, his life was changed. Whoopsie, I am so sorry, Maddie. I really would start over, Angel, but I am 6 minutes into reading this book. Okay. One day, a young blackbird saw some peacocks. From that moment on, his life was changed. "Oh, how beautiful they are," he whispered to himself, "and how ugly I am." Day and night he thought of their beauty. He could neither sleep nor eat. "If only I could be one of them," moaned the poor blackbird. He began to follow the peacocks around, and when any of them dropped one of its gorgeous feathers, the blackbird would rush to pick it up. Soon he had many of the lovely feathers. He stuck them into his belt. "Now I am one of them," said the young blackbird as he gazed at his reflection in the mirror. And he flew out to join the peacocks. He strutted in front of them proudly, but the peacocks had never seen anything so silly as a blackbird with peacock feathers stuck in his belt. "Ah, ha, 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 ha," they laughed, holding their sides. A bunch of blackbirds, attracted by all the noise, came to see what was going on. They, too, had never seen anything so silly as a blackbird dressed up in peacock feathers. "Ah, ha, ha, ha," they laughed, holding their sides. The young blackbird ignored them all. "I am a peacock," he insisted. "The poor creature is touched in the head," said the peacocks. "Those fine feathers won't fool anyone," agreed the blackbirds. "He is still a blackbird underneath." Do not pretend to be someone you are not. I love peacocks. The Fox and the Crow. A crow sat up high in a tree with some food in his beak. Below on a park bench sat Mrs. Fox with her son. "Mama," said the little fox, looking up at the bird, "I wish I had something to eat." "You will," whispered Mrs. Fox into his ear. "Just watch this." Then in a slightly louder voice for the crow to hear, she went on. "Oh, that crow is so handsome." Upon hearing this, the crow ruffled his feathers. He was very pleased. Look at his beautiful shiny coat. The crow felt so proud. And see his elegant manners. If the crow had been a cat, he would have purred. That's how happy he felt to hear all these nice things. It is said that the crow has a wonderful voice. I shall show them how well I can sing, thought the bird, and he opened his beak to do so. At that, the food he had been holding fell down to the ground next to the fox's. "Here, son," said Mrs. Fox, and handed him the crow's lunch. Didn't I tell you that you'd have something good to eat? And the crow began to sing. Come, son, said Mrs. Fox. Let's move away from here. I find the crow's song so very irritating. Common sense is greater than beauty. Common sense is greater than beauty. And the last one, Maddie. The grasshopper and the ants. All summer long, the grasshopper played his fiddle and sang songs. It was a pleasant way to live. Everyone enjoyed his music, and he had many friends. There was plenty of food, free for the taking, in the green summer fields. The grasshopper just nibbled a little here and a little there, and then moved on. The ants, on the other hand, worked all summer long, collecting food and storing it in their houses. When it began to get cold and the snow fell, the grasshopper shivered. His stomach was empty, so he went from anthouse to anthouse, begging for something to eat. While you fiddled last summer, said the ants, we worked hard, putting grain away for the winter time. Now we just have enough for ourselves. Let us alone. Go away. Poor grasshopper. He was getting hungrier and colder and was beginning to think he would starve to death. Night came and the grasshopper started sadly down the road that led away from the town where everyone had so cruelly refused him food. Just then, he passed the last house. Through the window, the grasshopper saw some ants preparing for a holiday feast. Once more, he knocked on the door to ask for food. This time, a friendly ant opened it and saw her summertime companion, the grasshopper. Look, tonight we shall have music. To the grasshopper, she said, come in and play and be merry with us. Together they all celebrated. The ants brought out their most luscious food, and the grasshopper played his sweetest music. They danced and they ate and they sang all night long, and everybody was happy. The lesson learned here is always prepare today for tomorrow. The end. Hope you enjoyed the book. I am going to try and do either my piece plate with watercolors or let's see what else I have for you. Leaf printing. See you in a minute.